shows are about, you know, creating a dialogue and questioning. I felt that it was possible to kind of create through music a kind of, you know, direct political action.
It's pretty heartening that people, considering the extreme music and extreme politics, that after an absence of over 3 years, that people are, you know, still into it and have been waiting for it.
The guilty parties are back. Zach, Tom, Brad, and Tim, armed with their chart-topping second effort, Evil Empire. A vindication for LA's Rage Against the Machine, considering the amount of time and struggle they went through to make it.
We really wanted to write the right record. And I think that what happens when you tour for 3 years and you don't get into an environment where you're writing it all, each person tends to construct, you know, their own version of what they feel the record would be a great record to write. And so I think that certainly posed its problems once we got back into the studio.
Yes, we do struggle in the studio, and yes, we're happy with the album. It's a process of coming through that struggle that makes Rage Against the Machine sound the way it does. This record, like the last one, is a real testament to the band's chemistry. By combining our influences and the way that the four of us play together, that's just how it comes out. There's a definite hip-hop influence and a punk influence and a hard rock influence. You know, it's just the way the four of us play together that makes it pretty seamless.
Compromise, conformity, assimilation, submission, hypocrisy, brutality, feeling, all of which are American dreams. All of which are American dreams.
Your words are fluid, you know I be the funnel. You think you see light, but I see blood at the end of the tunnel.
Though Rage do draw on hip-hop, they want the world to know that unlike that musical form, they do not use samples. In fact, all of their music is created by the instruments they play.
To clear up a popular misconception, it's not that the band has some prejudice against sampling, it's just that we create those sounds in the context of a punk rock band, and we don't use samples and machinery to make those sounds happen. You should just know that, you know, when you're listening to them.
Something television viewers should know is that Rage Against the Machine's videos are not staged lip-sync performances, but live concerts, such as their buzz clip, Bulls on Parade.
Rally round the family with a pocket full of shells. We rally round the family with a pocket full of shells.
In Bulls on Parade, it's live footage from the Big Day Out festival in Australia and a club show in Sydney as well. That is the sort of the quintessential Rage Against the Machine. That's what we do best, is we play our songs live. And while sometimes it's difficult to capture that, you know, in the editing room in the right way to make a video happen, I think that we've been pretty lucky in the videos we've done.
Bomb Track, like many of Rage's songs, is inspired by the band's most powerful influence, their political beliefs. It's those ideals and attitudes that fuel their music.
I think that one of the important things about Rage is that we are able to seduce some people in with the music who then are exposed to a different political message.
It's kind of why we play music. Certainly it's something that we've thought about, you know, something that we think is important considering the kind of, you know, policies that are being undertaken in this country right now.
Rage Against the Machine take an unapologetically left-wing stance on many political issues, from abortion rights to Zach's support for the struggle of the Zapatista rebel movement in Mexico.
We feel that, like, our music can raise some very pertinent questions about the conditions in Mexico and try to galvanize support and solidarity for the Zapatista movement. I think that people here supporting the Zapatistas, trying to bring an end to it and trying to bring a transition to democracy, a real democracy in Mexico, would be significant and very important.
And when they can, they're always happy to lend their music to a cause, particularly when it has to do with the oppressed.
The song is dedicated to Brother Leonard Peltier, and it's called Freedom.
Rage has performed at benefits for two controversial figures, both convicted of murder and both, as far as Rage is concerned, political prisoners. Former Black Panther Mumia Abu-Jamal and Native American Leonard Peltier.
Your anger is a gift!
Rage also took part in the recent Tibetan Freedom Concert, organized by Beastie Boy MCA to raise awareness about China's occupation of Tibet.
MCA has been really, you know, interested and involved in supporting the Tibetan independence movement. And asked us to be a part of the show, and I figured, great, it's a perfect opportunity for me to learn more about what's going on in Tibet. I think that the musical community is a community that, you know, I refuse to believe is like part of this, you know, desperate, you know, Generation X, inactive community. I think they can become a force.
This song is about being an individual, about searching and finding new information and using your strength as an individual to attack systems like America who continue to rob and rape and murder people in the name of freedom. And this song is called A Bullet in Your Head.
We're proud to be extremists. You don't use a moderate medicine to cure an extreme illness. And so both in our music and in the message, that extremism I think is very positive and necessary.
If you were to ask me, like, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, if, like, through poetry and stuff, that we were going to be able to, you know, enter a public dialogue with people about, you know, the U.S.-sponsored terror in southern Mexico against the Zapatista movement or other very, you know, relative issues, I think that, you know, I would have said you were crazy. If Rage can become, you know, like a alternative social media for kids and for people interested in music, I think it's, I can think of worse achievements for bands.